So the question that's on everybody's minds, what happened to you? Let me tell you what happened to me. After I graduated high school, I started gaining weight, a lot of weight. I don't think I ever really learned how to eat, and that was one of my biggest problems. So I ate whatever I wanted, College comes around, huge buffets everywhere. It's like being on a cruise ship, what all can I shove in my mouth? And so weight started to really creep on, about 10 to 15 pounds a year, all the way up until I got married. I just had not figured out how to eat. I would do all these fad diets, join a Jenny Craig. I'm a 15-time Weight Watcher member, all these things to try and lose weight. I just desperately wanted somebody to tell me what to do, that somebody had this magic pill that was going to completely stop what was going on and bring me back to my whole high school weight and everything was going to be perfect. But life isn't like that, let me just tell you. So as I turned 37, I started getting very, very sick, and I had a lot of trouble with my heart. My heart was racing. My cholesterol levels were bad, and my reflux was completely out of control. It was wearing holes in my diaphragm and my stomach, and I was having lots and lots of issues. Medication wasn't doing anything. I ended up having multiple heart issues that landed me in the emergency room, and my GI specialist just said, "You're done. We have to do surgery." There were several options, but the one that made the most sense and the one that we were able to do in an emergency is called a Roux-en-Y. Some of you may be familiar with this. It's the old school gastric bypass. Back in like the 80s and 90s, this is how they did it. And they basically reroute your entire GI system. The cure for reflux is what this was. But at 280 pounds on my 5'2" frame, it was a new freedom for me as well. But I learned very quickly that when they went in there to do this reflux surgery and fix these hernias that had become a massive problem, is that there was a lot of other things going on. I had a very large tumor in my chest. I had multiple hernias that needed to be repaired. My stomach was very sick. And so the Roux-en-Y was the gateway to the rest of my health. Over about 5 to 6 months, I lost about 70 pounds. All of it violently ill weight. If you know anybody that's ever had a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, they will tell you that it stinks. You are sick, really sick for a while, unless you're non-compliant and you try cheating a lot, which I did none of. I did not want to be sick. And that's when I realized that my shift in my thinking had happened. I was no longer after losing weight. I was after no longer being sick. I didn't want to be sick anymore. And so I stripped away all the foods that we're not supposed to have. No bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, and sugar. None of it. And I ate like that for a year. And I lost an additional 90 pounds. So that brings us about 150 to 160. On my 280 pound frame, I'm now down to about 118, 120. So I went from a 26, 28 waist to a size 4. I went from a 3X shirt to about a small, sometimes an extra small. I have so much energy. I don't feel sick. And if there is a food that I find that does make me sick, I immediately eliminate it. I've gotten pretty stable. I've been stable since about January, and this is June. So I've been holding steady, and now I feel like it's time for me to start giving back to people. Because the truth is, if you're overweight and you don't need to have a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, or you're not at that point, which I don't know that anybody really is. Honestly, this comes down to 3 key things. Number 1, refusing to be sick anymore. Number 2, consistency. And number 3, a willingness to not give up. Those are your big 3 key things. Consistency is everything. Refusing to be sick is so important. Remember, you're not trying to lose weight, you're refusing to be sick anymore. And if you can get that mindset, then you're going to do awesome. So that's a little bit about my story. I am 24 months out almost. Something like that. I weigh myself every once in a blue moon just to make sure I'm not gaining weight or not eating too much. I focus on portion sizes, and I'm here to teach you about how I lost that last 90 through portion control, through compliance, and refusing to being sick. So let's take a tour into my kitchen.